the fact that we have to make these distinctions in 2022. I was talking about this with somebody the other day with the whole thing about the black coaches and how it's now 2.5 men. And you're thinking that we have to make these distinctions at this point, and that the NFL has to reach and go, wow, he's half a black guy, that McDaniel, half a black guy. There you go. It's working. And you're thinking, why do we have to make these distinctions with white and black? I know it sounds kind of simple to say that, but why can't people just accept each other for who and what they are? And if you look at Lubie and me, obviously we're white and have benefited from the fact that we don't have to add in. It's like these people are walking around, unfortunately, sadly to say today, with at least one strike on them from birth.
Yep.
It's kind of a sad statement that this is where we're at today.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very good morning to everybody. The post-Super Bowl, post-Valentine's Day special here on the Defo Show. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with Mike Lubitz on this fine Tuesday. I lost my train of thought there because a shot of Donald Trump just came up on the monitor that I'm watching on a big screen here, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, he's running again.
What does that mean?
But anyway, good to be with you guys. Very festive yesterday. Valentine's Day turned out all right. The plastic flowers didn't go over very well. But the beauty of it is I can get the same ugly reaction when I give them to her next year. Right? I don't have to worry about spending another $30 for a $12 batch of roses. As you waited till the last minute. I wasn't able to get a card. This was one of the few times the sorry for your loss cards were even sold out. So a lot of people are following in my footsteps there. That's always bad. You know when you're looking at the bottom row of the cards in a grocery store or a pharmacy, like, here we have, CVS. Is that universal around the country? CVS,
Yes,
Walgreens,
yes,
that kind of thing. I don't think we have Walgreens anymore, do we? CVS is everywhere.
but yeah.
Well, when you're on your hands and knees trying to read what's on the cards on the bottom rung, you know you're probably in the wrong category. Correct?
Yeah.
No, Valentine's Day cards are gone, man. And they juice the price of the cards on Valentine's Day also. So the move is, like you do with Halloween candy. Some people do this. I find it kind of silly to buy up all of the Halloween candy the day after Halloween so you have it for next year.
I mean,
I don't know that it keeps all that well, right? I mean, stale Reese's peanut butter cups, not exactly what you want to be giving away at the doorway to a bunch of children whose teeth are having problems in development.
Jesus. What was on a
But people do that, right? They buy all the candy at half price, right? It's all half price. All of those crackles and the little chocolate bars, the Hershey's chocolate bars, the small ones, the Kisses, everything, M&Ms, half price. So why not? Just stock up for next year. Halloween candy, or just eat it yourself throughout the year. But Valentine's Day, usually a tough one, right? When the flowers are in the punch and it's not even 8:00, that's not a good sign. But we did have a good time last night. Went to a local Greek restaurant here called Thesos. I hadn't been there. Nice, I wouldn't say I was overwhelmed, but good atmosphere. And it was good food for what it was. A little pricey, but. It seemed like a very, very good place to celebrate. We had like 10 people out there, so it was fantastic. And fortunately for me, with 4 other couples on the scene, I wasn't reduced to total embarrassment by coming up with nothing for the Mustang. I did, though, come across this, and this was an old post on Facebook. And I'm going to dedicate this to Andy, our good friend Andy, although it wasn't written for Andy, but it would be something that maybe he might have experienced in terms of degenerate affection. All right. This would be your degenerate Valentine card. I came across this from a couple of years ago. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, Lubie, but are you ready for this?
Probably fitting, even for today.
Self-indulgence here at the top of the show. Okay. This is your degenerate Valentine card inscription.
God, dude.
Your love has always made me feel peachy, like hitting a try by King Luca Panici. You are my soul, you are my rock, you are Johnny V on a mortal lock. You make me feel I am no longer just a dreamer, as great as having a winning 3 or 4 teamer. You are the sun, the sky, a sudden clap of thunder, points taken off the board to help cover an under. Ask for a stick, and I'll make it a deuce. Because I love you, there will be no juice. Missing the late double is a small price to pay to celebrate with you on this beautiful Valentine's Day. Tell me if that's not going to win her over.
I don't know if that's sweet or gross.
So that's where we stand. In other words, degenerates, as I've been saying all along, you people are aware of this. Degenerates are routinely bereft of any kind of inclination as to how to deal with affairs of the heart. All we know about are affairs of financial woe and, in many cases, unfortunately, borderline financial ruin. But nonetheless, that was it. I mean, for Valentine's Day. What do you think? I think that goes the way of the fully vaccinated T-shirts, which I did attempt to sell at the flea
One of
market on Saturday. I didn't really get into this yesterday. We got heavy
I know.
into all of the Super Bowl postscript, and of course, we had John Kajemi on the show. And I don't know that John was interested in the fact that
No.
the guy whose show he is participating on and bringing like a giant sponsor in, like Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and maybe others down the road. John Kajemi, well connected, this cat, and well respected. But I don't know that he wanted to necessarily be aware that the host of the show, in this case me, was on a church market trying to sell T-shirts that I've
We
been
need
stuck
to
with for 2 years.
We just need to go to like the swap shop and just like camp out all day. And I'll go.
It
with
wasn't really the kind of crowd that was going to spring for 20
No,
for
no.
a T-shirt. Let's put it that
No.
way.
you. Need like the swap or the one that's by us because we both live off
Yeah.
of the sample area. That one, the festival flea market. Those are like really highly trafficked ones where no matter what happens, you're gonna get some. I'm not giving up. You can give up. I'm not giving up. I think it's a great idea. We just need to find the right place.
People love the shirts. I mean, they definitely
I
do.
love it.
Yeah. We got a lot of reaction to it, which was mostly, how much is that? Now, people were buying, like, they were selling and buying any junk, like the worst dreck, something that, you look around your house, and I always say this to the Mustang, because we have a lot of clutter that I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of clutter. I don't like stuff piled up all over the place, right? Piles
Shirley's
of
the
stuff
same way.
here, piles of shit over there. I
It's
mean,
so fun.
who needs it, right?
It stresses me out.
So,
That's fine.
yeah, my philosophy is just get rid of everything. I mean, the worst thing, we've moved 3 times in the span of, I guess 2 times actually moving in the span of a year.
Yep.
And all you keep concluding every time you move all of your stuff is, who needs this crap? Why do we want to even own anything? I'm tempted really just to go the route of the Winnebago and just travel around the country and see if I can't find some gig like this where you could do it from anywhere. Although it would be difficult to set everything up perfectly
I mean, this we
to
could do
the
it.
standards of Ion Channel.
You just have to reset up every day, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, if I was at some campsite, traveling around in a camper. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know that that's me either. I mean, to be honest with you, I love my situation here. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. I mean, driving 2 miles to the restaurant, I was saying to the Mustang that we went to last night, this Greek place, which is a couple of miles away, Oakland Park Boulevard here, if you're in South Florida, and A1A, which the weird thing is, and I kind of like this, fancy schmancy type of building. I mean, it's not like, you're going into some hole-in-the-wall place, but you literally have to enter by cutting through a gas station,
Nice.
which I'm not
That's
sure that that's always a great sign for a high-end restaurant.
How can that be fancy? How the hell do you pull that off?
Otherwise, you have to go over the bridge and come all the way back around and then hope you don't accidentally make that other turn. And the next thing you know, you're in the intercoastal. It's, it was very interesting, the entire thing. But cutting through a gas station to get to a fancy restaurant is kind of a novelty. You would have to agree, especially here in South Florida. But I was saying, I mean, what a beautiful thing, right? You're across the street from the beach. It's 80 degrees going to be the rest of the week with sun shining, the sun shining brightly. Rest of the country is socked in. I mean, they had to cancel racing yesterday at parks because of inclement weather, even though the track was kind of cleared. But it was so cold that they decided mercifully to just call off the races there. Meanwhile, they're racing in the snow at other beat tracks around the country. And then we're here, complaining that, it hit like 55 degrees, which I love it. There's nothing better than walking outside. I wish, and California was more like this, where it was kind of cool at night, even though it was like a bloodbath of heat in the daytime. Still, I mean, you could go outside at night and kind of breathe in a little bit of, clean air, which was rare. And then, you got a little bit of a cool feel to it, too, which it was so nice to walk outside this morning and just pick up the New York Post and go, yeah, that feels good. Well, we don't get a lot of it, but we do live in paradise, so Lubie. I must have passed 50 restaurants that you would have been glad to eat at on my way down to this other place, which, as I said, was pretty decent. I don't know what to order in a Greek restaurant
I get
outside of
euros.
like the hummus appetizer.
Euro. You
What do
get
you?
a euro. A euro platter. Euro platters are always. It's hard for them to mess it up. I've been to a lot of Greek places. Some it's better than others, but
Yeah.
it's standard. Like we just always get a euro platter. Spanakopita is good. Spanakopita is usually good.
Well, what's involved in that? I have no
No,
idea.
that's the spinach. The little spinach pastry
Oh, yeah.
things. Those are solid. They're never.
That's what you're having for dinner, like a spinach pastry? Get
No,
out of
you
here.
get euro. You get a hummus platter. You get a spanakopita. You get a euro. And you got
okay.
Not fancy. Like when they do Greek fancy to me, like Shirley likes a place that's not fancy, but it's more than the place we will pick up from. It's like double the price, but it's still the same food. Like I don't get paying the same price for the same food. That's me. Like I just don't.
See, that's you, because you're thinking like a Jewish kid from Brooklyn does, which is how high is this tab going to go if you keep ordering appetizers, my friend?
Like I can see when.
And are we all equal parts of this thing? That always bugs me though. When at a table of 10, they start going, "Well, you had the corned beef." And you're like, forget about it. Here's 200. I'm out of here. But no, it's a good time, and I'm glad I survived it. Valentine's Day, so we got through that. I don't know what's next. What can we bungle next?
You're going on a trip. That's what's next. This trip of yours it's 3 months away.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you're scared to death, but I'm looking forward to it.
Nah, you know what? I've never been to Europe, so I'm 70
saying,
and a hook. Let's face it.
Like, are you going with another couple? Like, are you?
No, just staying at me. That's it. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Oh, it's much better if we're not going with another couple, because that way, if it ends badly, or let's say it begins badly and just continues to get worse, you can always hop a plane and fly back. You don't have to worry about. Sorry, Lou. Sorry, Susie. There you go with another Lou I'm traveling with. Unbelievable. Like I'm hanging out with Lou Duver or something. All right. There are many things that were happening on the sporting front. We will do some revisitation of the Super Bowl. There is some aftermath kind of stuff that happened and has transpired over the last couple of days. The Sean McVay thing, nobody believes he's going to retire.
I haven't heard that a lot. You're the only one I've really heard that from. The Aaron Donald's the one that keeps popping its head up, but I don't believe either.
And nobody believes he's going to retire either. So if he does, it's going to surprise a lot of people. Nobody believes that McVay is going to stop coaching, except they keep writing about it as if it was reality.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's they, right? I mean, I'm talking about, I'm just reading articles online and in the New York Post, and the speculation was that if he left, they would have any number of suitors from the television world, including Amazon and ESPN. They would all want McVay to be their commentator. Everybody thinks he would be outstanding. You would have to think that he would be. He would be like Gruden squared. Maybe without some of the lingo that Gruden developed, which I think Gruden would be the first to admit was absolutely meaningless. But nonetheless, McVay, with his total recall of every play, I mean, he's like Rain Man on this stuff.
Yep.
Where they say, okay, week 3, we're going against the 49ers. It was 2nd and 13. With a minute and change to go in the first half, what was the play there? And he'll go chapter and verse. Well, you know what? It was actually 2nd and 12 there, Joe. And I tell you what, there was a minute 27 left in the game. And that really altered our thinking, because I was going to run the ball. I mean, he goes into, extreme detail. We've been impressed by many coaches, especially college basketball coaches,
Yep.
with their ability to have total recall about a season that took place 37 years ago. Right?
Honestly.
Pro basketball coaches, too. Ronnie Rothstein, when he comes on our show, who was head coach of the original Miami Heat and has been with the Heat organization pretty much ever since. I guess he had a hiatus there where he was an assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers for a while. And then he came back and he was coaching the WNBA team as the head coach. And he came back as a Heat assistant. And now he's on the broadcast team. And literally, you could ask him about a game that he played in high school in the 50s. And he will give you every remote detail, every minute detail that you could possibly conjure up about the ball game. And yet, I don't know, at 80-something, does he even remember what he had for breakfast in the morning?
It's just weird because he'll quote halftime speeches he gave to an expansion Heat team that won like 9 games, and he'll remember the speeches he gave. It's like, what the hell?
And every detail of the games. I mean, no, it was 12 seconds ago when I put Rowinski in there. That's all you have to do is mention Jim Rowinski. RoboCop, and it's all over, right? He cracks up laughing, and the rest of the interview goes in another direction. It's great, but anyway, we kind of turn away from the Super Bowl. A lot of postscript type of stuff. McVay supposedly, going to be sought after by every television entity that has rights to NFL games. He's got this gorgeous Ukrainian model that also is a high-end real estate agent in Los Angeles. So she's making plenty of cash. She's making $8.5 million a year. They juice his salary to $10 million easily, if he becomes a color commentator, right? When you're in hot demand, I mean, do you strike when the fire is hot there?
Yes, yeah.
Is it the iron that's hot? No.
Iron is hot. Yes, or the
He'll
iron is
never have, I don't think, well, he might have more leverage in terms of negotiations about doing other things or even being a head coach. But, I mean, what? If he came back and won another Super Bowl, certainly that would, increase his marketability. But I don't know that he could be hotter than he is right now with new entities entering the game in terms of broadcasting the National Football League. And ESPN continuing to scramble because they've never been able to figure out what to do on Monday night, and now have gotten to the point where they even divide the broadcast in two separate directions in terms of the announcers, where you have the Manning cast going on for 10 games. And I hate to say it, but I really can't take too much Louis Riddick on that broadcast. And he seems like a very likable individual. It's not like his personality comes off and you think, wow, this guy's a real dunce. What the hell is he talking about? He seems to know what he's talking about. It's just enough already, Lou, huh? There's my Lou reference. Hey, Lou!
He overdoes it. He's one of those guys that he does the overdoing it. I don't mind him. It's my favorite is Greasy, and you bring up Greasy all the time because Greasy's not important. Like, he doesn't even need to
Vapid,
be.
yeah. He does nothing.
Why is he there? Like, okay,
why is he there? Yeah. It's almost like they have a puppet in there.
It's so weird.
I'm not sure that he does anything to either embellish or inspire Louis Riddick's comments. Steve Levy has always been a very competent professional announcer, and I think he does the best he can under the circumstances because he tries to keep it loose, but Riddick keeps making it seem like every play is of monumental consequence and importance and is the most dramatic thing that ever happened in the history of the world. And it just isn't. I'm sorry. There are a lot of like dull moments in an NFL game, like watching the Rams try to run the football. And you kept asking yourself, why are they trying to run the football? They can't run it. For whatever reason, I mean, they just could not generate. Every play that they ran and kept the ball on the ground, virtually every play was stuffed within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, was it not? That was kind of a big surprise.
Yeah, the run
in
game
that Super Bowl game. Yeah, I mean, they have a pretty good running game. And I don't know, were the Bengals that much monstrous or are they monstrous on defense against a run all year? And nobody could be that efficient against a run as they were in the Super Bowl game. And, when Odell Beckham Jr., now torn ACL, is the belief about Odell Beckham Jr., and the players are now screaming again about playing on artificial turf, which nobody ever liked. I mean, I don't know. They can't grow grass in Los Angeles.
I never understood why, like, plenty of stadiums and arena and playing fields use regular grass. So I never understood the AstroTurf stuff. I get it; it's easier to maintain, I presume, but players always bitch about it.
Well, and for good reason. If you ever go on an AstroTurf field, it's hard as a rock. Also, I mean, there's not that much of a cushion there before you're literally landing on cement. So, it's not advantageous for a player. That's a certainty. Now, it's not like players don't get hurt on grass fields, but when you saw that abrupt stop and the guy's cleats getting caught on the AstroTurf, Odell Beckham Jr., and you realize, wow, this is a guy that already came back from a torn ACL, coming back from 2 torn ACLs. Holy Jim Lonborg. I mean, not the easiest thing to do, is it? 2 torn ACLs in a career. Who does that?
I don't know.
Very few people. So anyway, yeah, that's part of the postscript. McVay, a lot of speculation that he's going to quit coaching. The sentiment today seemed to be, well, that's all a bunch of bull. He's coming back, and he's definitely going to coach the team. And there is that principle of sport, is there not? Because it's not like he's an old guy and he's going to go out and ride out the door there in the white horse there into the sunset after winning a championship, which is what people were looking for Tom Brady to do, possibly last year. He stuck around this year, had a shot to win the title. In fact, the Buccaneers, even without a quarterback, are still like 22-1 or something to win the Super Bowl next year with Brady gone. Can you imagine?
People think he's going to come back. That's the thing. Like, that's the new scuttlebutt Gronk dropped a couple days ago. He'd be surprised if Brady didn't come back. So now everyone's assuming he's going to make a return.
That would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like he didn't leave then. Like, if he comes back for
rumors of his death, yes.
Is it a retirement? like if you actually come back before the season starts, then what was it?
If he's in training camp next year, then we'll never believe another thing that Tom Brady ever says. And you know what? Somebody, I can't suggest that they hang Jim Gray, but If Jim Gray somehow disappeared, I don't think the journalism world would be upset at all.
God.
No, I mean, just disappeared from the scene. If he decided, hey, I've had enough. I'm tired of asking the same stupid question to every fighter after the fight. How would you grade your performance tonight? I'd give it a B. What is this, American Bandstand? Great. The guy just got his face beat in for 12 rounds. How would you grade your performance? You know what's really bad about that, though? When you end up doing some of this stuff and it ends up getting stuck in your head, like the
You
things
do
that
it.
you absolutely
Exactly.
despise as an announcer, and then you end up saying, hey, how would you grade your performance tonight? And you're thinking to yourself, I want to scream. I can't believe I just said that. It happens, right?
Always.
People put it in your head, right? I mean, that Mauro Ranallo always talking about the championship rounds. And then I'm calling a fight one night a couple of years ago, and I'm thinking, well, here we go into the championship rounds. I mean, the very thing I want to put a gun to my head and just blow my brains out that I copied something off a guy that I'm, highly critical of because I'm not a big fan of just total cliche and mindless screaming while doing any kind of play-by-play event. Anyway, McVay supposedly, I guess now coming back, coach the Rams. I mean, how does he walk away from a championship team? Wouldn't that be in total defiance of everything that he's told these players to buy into?
Yes.
And what was the biggest beef about the 1997 then Florida Marlins?
Oh, yeah, we didn't get a chance to run it back.
Didn't get a chance to run it back. So, I mean, you can't imagine a 36-year-old coach walking away from a championship team that he's had in 2 Super Bowls in 5 years with a record of like 62-29 over 5 years.
They return almost everyone. The only free agent that's worth anything is Von Miller, an older dude that wants to be there. So you could probably get him for an affordable rate. Like, yes, in a couple years, they're going to be the Chiefs where everyone's going to be free agent. But right now, they're not. Like, you do that again, and then you see what happens. Like 100%.
Yes.
You do what the Bucks did. Like, the Bucks at least took another shot. You got to take one more shot. I mean, Donald's 30, and I get it. There was this run with like San Francisco players where like you had 4 guys retire like 30 or under. I get it. The guy, you make $200 million. You don't really need to play and risk your body. But at 30, like Donald could play 2 more years and go like a full 10. And then McVay could coach for like 4 or 5 more years and then do like a Cower or something where he taps out for 10, 15 years. Or Vermeil. Vermeil did that where he left like pretty young. And like, but at 36.
Gruden, the same thing. Yeah. I mean, Gruden was a relatively young guy. Now, he had been fired out of his job.
He was fired. That's my thing. Like the leaving on your own, I don't think Vermeil was fired. Like to go be with the family, really, okay, I could see it, but not at 36.
You think Dick Vermeil's been drinking a lot of that wine that he brings around on Radio Row? He always has like a couple of bottles, and he never leaves one for us, does he?
Try it.
I keep asking for it. Hey, Dick, can we try this stuff, huh?
He brings
Dick
one
Vermeil
bottle.
Owns like a winery in the Napa Valley or something, and he's very proud of it. And he's always hawking that wine when he goes around the Radio Rows at the Super Bowls. And look, Dick Vermeil is a fabled coach and was always a guy that had a dynamic personality as a head coach, whether he was coaching. He was coaching at UCLA when I was living out in California. Wow. And, of course, a long time with the Philadelphia Eagles, Dick Vermeil. Had a solid career, no question about it. Got into the Hall of Fame, right, this year. Is that right?
I think
so. One of the new inductees, Dick Vermeil? Yeah, I think so.
Up there, so I think so, yeah.
Yeah. No, good. But, he's always talking that wine. And you're wondering, he seemed a little loopy when he was traveling around Radio Row, did he not? He had like a gleam in his eye that made you think that he had found an inebriant that everybody else should discover. Kind of like that time we had Rodman on an interview. Dennis Rodman, and we were thinking, whatever drug this guy's on, I want to be on it too.
I want to try it.
Just for a little while. As long as it doesn't kill me, I want to give it a shot. So the favorites now for next year are already established. The odds for next year, as you might imagine, Lubie, because everybody wants to encourage people to just go ahead and be separated from their money. And it was 15-2, which is basically 7 and a hook to 1. 15-2 on the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the favorites. I think they're co-favorites to go ahead. Let me look it up here real quick. So I have the exact information. But they are the favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Bills are also 15-2 in the latest odds, which I thought they were going to be a little bit higher. So 15-2 on the Chiefs and the Bills, the 2 favorites. The Rams are 10-1 to come back and repeat. 10-1, Lubie. I'm going to ask you if you had this prop bet in front of you right now, would you be inclined to go ahead and plunk down $100 on any of these teams? All right. You tell me when to stop. All right. Would you put 100 on the Chiefs to win 750 to win the Super Bowl right now?
Yes. I think the Chiefs should have won it this year. And I think Patrick Mahomes lost his head. I think the Chiefs are still the best team. I think the Rams are second, but go on.
Okay. So would you put the 100 down on the Chiefs?
Yeah, honestly. I think the Chiefs are special still.
All right. Would you put 100 on the Bills to get back 750 at the end of the season?
I don't know. And they got close enough this year with next year probably the year. I'm still worried about the Bills. I don't know.
The Rams at 10-1. Do they not seem like a reasonable proposition to repeat? The Rams at 10-1.
Those are nice odds for a team that it should be almost fully intact.
Would you lay 100 down on the Cowboys at 14-1 to win the Super Bowl? Somehow I don't picture them winning the Super Bowl during Jerry Jones' lifetime.
I don't think they make the playoffs. I think you're going to see them take a step back. Mike McCarthy sucks.
Would you take the 49ers at that same price as the Cowboys, 14-1? The 49ers, based on what you saw this year. Now they're going to have a new quarterback, right? They're going to go with
a second-year
Lance,
dude.
right?
Yep, a second-year guy, and supposedly McDaniel was a big part of their team the last few years, and they're not going to have him, and they've lost Salah over the year before, so I don't think so.
All right, Bengals 14-1 to come back. Now the Bengals at 14-1 would seem like the most attractive price, would it not?
Bengals are.
They knocked on the door this year. I mean, they gave a pretty good account of themselves, even though they obviously had glaring flaws in a key area of any championship game, which is lining up in the trenches, as Brandon Lang pointed out. And those flaws reared their ugly head as in the second half, Joe Burrow was getting cremated there by the Rams defense after they did a pretty adequate job of staving them off. The referee, by the way, this was one of the most interesting things that I saw in the postscript to the Super Bowl. An official, I don't know if he was an official in the game, but an NFL official explained why there was no call on the T. Higgins touchdown, which everybody thought was one of the most atrocious non-calls in the history of modern American football.
What was his explanation?
Here was the explanation. This was great, that just brushing against the guy's face mask is not enough to constitute a foul if it doesn't directly impact the play.
But none of that's true. Nothing he said there's true. He literally grabbed it, closed his hand, while the guy was running full speed, threw him
down. Yeah.
And then he fell.
And that's the only reason he scored. I mean, he may have caught the ball.
The coverage was spectacular until that. Nothing he said there's true. So then just say nothing.
He might have made the catch, but once he made the catch, I mean, it would have been a difficult go to make the catch. It could have easily been picked off if Jalen Ramsey's still standing. Could have easily been an incompletion, but instead, with Ramsey on the ground as a result of this incidental contact, that this official from the NFL, Robert Torbert is his name, Robert Torbert, came out as an official spokesman for the NFL officiating team and said, no, that's not a foul.
What's a foul? Then I don't get it. Then why did they call anything in that game? You should just let it be the Wild West.
Right. I mean, the same crew that was calling a guy, had his hand through the belt loop of Cooper Kupp or whatever, and they call that and give the Rams 17 cracks. Now, I'm not saying that was unjustified. As you looked at the replays on those calls, yeah, I mean, they were holding. On that one that the linebacker, what was it, 55?
Yeah,
that guy was pretty good in pass coverage, but he's all over Cooper Kupp before the ball even gets there. Yep. On that play that was swatted away, and that was the first of a couple of calls that the Rams got at the end. Those were justifiable calls. I mean, I didn't think they were atrocious. Could they have been waved off or just ignored? Sure, but yes. Would that have been fair? I don't know.
No.
And yet, this other one with T. Higgins, though, is the most blatant violation that you've ever seen by an offensive receiver.
Yep.
I mean, he stopped just short of punching Ramsey in the face after taking his helmet off and knocking him down. And the guy called it incidental. So not only did they blow the call, but they blew the explanation then on top of that. What are you supposed to believe? Come on, Raj. You want us to believe this? I mean, it's just that was insane. That was the weirdest thing I saw as the aftermath of the Super Bowl was shaken out, that they actually tried to justify that as if it had no influence whatsoever on the play. that Ramsey was going to fall down on his own.
It was in perfect coverage.
And Higgins was going to catch the ball, and with nobody else on the field anywhere near him, the defensive side, guess what? He was going to walk into the end zone there in a 75-yard touchdown play. The longest ever to open up either half of a Super Bowl in the history of the game that goes back 56 years. Never happened before.
Goes back longer.
Nothing wrong with that, though. Incidental contact is what he called it. Kind of not even incidental contact. That he just said if you graze the guy's helmet, it's not pass interference.
So why would he have fallen? Okay.
That's crazy, right?
It doesn't.
All right, a lot of stuff happened in the NBA also, Louis. We'll get into some of that. Also, later on, Harvey Fialkov is going to join us. When do they play professional hockey again? I guess, did they have the schedule drawn up as if they were going to go for 2 weeks to the Olympics? And that's why nobody's playing. There are a couple of games the other night. The Panthers, Florida Panthers, our team, second best team in the NHL right now in terms of points behind the Avalanche, who have been rated the top team in the league. It seems like the better part of the season, like most of the year. But Panthers like 1 point behind those guys. They haven't played since February 1st, Libby.
It's weird because there's games every day.
15th.
There's games every day. So some teams are getting long layoffs. I don't know. Every day there was games Sunday. They had games.
They had games last night.
They had games yesterday.
None of them involved, our team here. But and we're very curious because look, this is the city of false hope. And we've been buying into this for a long, long time, that eventually all of this stuff was going to come together, that they had the right mix of veterans and young guys. They appear to have all of that right now. Yeah. Sergei Bobrovsky, their goaltender, finally got his eyesight restored, which was a big help while in net.
Thank God he got the LASIK.
Right. My shiny amor, here comes a punk right in the back door. And you're thinking, wow, they paid $70 million for that guy. That was Dale Talendo when he was here, and that was that, right? They immediately got rid of him.
Like 3 years ago.
They got my third favorite Zito, to take over. Bill Zito is not a GM. He's done a hell of a job. So, no, they're primed. I mean, is this the year they finally do something? How could they possibly bow out of the postseason in the first round with the commanding, overwhelming, strong performance that they've had all year long, unless something devastating happened, like
hockey sucks,
guys. Yeah.
Because somehow the Panthers were like top 5 in points last year, and in the first round played a team that was top 4 in points. So way that they schedule their playoffs, it doesn't make you're not like benefited by having a good record. It doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't do.
Well,
anything.
1 versus 8 is a tough matchup in the NHL. We've seen it many times where it never happens in basketball. It's happened, I don't want to say it happens frequently, but it happens enough that you can believe an 8th seed will beat a number 1 seed in the first round of the hockey playoffs. That's happened. And often those series are veritable bloodbaths as opposed to the blowout that they would, on paper, appear to be. So, no guarantees. I can't really say that the Panthers had any big beef. That was a tough draw, but they were in there. I don't know that they would have beaten any of the other teams that they would have drawn in the first round, except for the Tampa Bay Lightning obviously went on and gave them the greatest of sports excuses, which is, well, we lost, but we lost to the eventual champion.
Whatever that means.
It's like, yeah, but you lost in the first round, man. You were home since like April 12th. Get out of here. All right, much going on. Bunch of trades in the NBA. Porzingis was moved from the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know that he's that significant anymore, is he?
No, he's not. That sucks.
Porzingis.
So much potential.
Where did he end up? Washington? Is that no man's land for a basketball player being with the Wizards?
Maybe. Oh,
where would you at least rather be? I guess Washington at least is a decent city. Orlando or Sacramento would have to run 1-2, right, in terms of basketball purgatory?
You have
Orlando or Sacramento?
Because at least it's in Florida. And it's not, I don't know where Sacramento is.
Sacramento is a cow town in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you may as well not be living in California.
Like, because you can get to Tampa.
It's a dump.
I don't mind Tampa in like an hour and a half. And you can get to South Florida. I just did it this weekend. And in around 2 hours, you can get to South Florida from Orlando. Okay. And Orlando is sort of a city in and of itself, as annoying as it is a city. I've never heard anything good about Sacramento, and I've never heard it in relation to anything. I'm never like, oh, well, it's close to LA or it's close to San Francisco.
No, it's close to nothing.
Yeah.
It's right in the center of the state. It really is, and like it's close to Bakersfield or Fresno,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. No, San Fran's closer to Fresno.
Okay.
No, I mean Sacramento would be basketball purgatory for a
Of
lot of
course.
reasons because they haven't been good since back in the day when they had Vlade and Chris Webber playing for them. Unbelievable. And that was a long time ago, huh? Who else did they have? Did they have Mike Bibby on that team?
They had
Why am I
Bibby, and
seeing
they
Mike
had
Bibby?
Bibby was a star. Bibby, Pedro
Yeah.
Stojakovic, Turkaloo. They had
I never
they
liked Bibby's shot. He had kind of a line drive that was on the rise all the way to the rim. One of those shooters that you look at and you go, do you put any trajectory on that ball whatsoever? I mean, was there anything better than dropping a high arcing three back in the day, Lubie, where you put a little extra loft on the ball deliberately because you just wanted to watch the rotation? You had to be really stoned to appreciate this while playing ball.
I loved how Hardaway did it. It looked like he was going to hit the roof every time Tim Hardaway shot.
But he shot a knuckleball.
But it was
He
like,
had no rotation on the ball. You remember that? I don't know how he did it. It was like Charlie Huff was playing basketball. No, he had no rotation. If you ever watch Tim Hardaway shots, they scraped the roof. They went straight up in the air, scraped the roof, and would come down. And obviously, he was a very efficient shooter. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to hoist all of those threes. Although there were some games there, Timmy. We loved him.
I loved him.
Bold move there by Pat Riley. See, Pat Riley's a guy that makes bold moves.
Yes.
He would be he'd be successful at anything he did, obviously. But, wow. He's not afraid to make bold moves. And look, how is that team in first place with what's happened to them this year? In their division, anyway.
Yeah.
The Nets, by the way, finally snapped their 11-game losing streak. I mean, they were just spiraling into an abyss. And made that big deal now. I don't know. When does Ben Simmons play? Does he do the same thing with the Nets now? He just sits out? Because he's not in a good mental place, Ben Simmons. What's wrong with this guy?
I don't know. I thought he's going to.
Don't say it. I thought you were going to say it. Too much, an allusion to a certain body part with not particularly a flattering word that is part of the female anatomy. Too much good? No?
No, I wasn't going to say that.
You don't think that was his problem? All right.
I don't know. What is
All right. Who knows what it is? He obviously was disillusioned. And the guy's a bricklayer from the free throw line, which unfortunately for him is such a can you be any more spotlighted for your flaws than to be standing at the free throw line when the entire arena, everybody watching on TV knows that you suck at free throws. And they can't wait for you to launch your next brick.
What do you mean? I got to the point he was scared to have he's the ball handler and he would pass it away at the half court line because he didn't want to have the ball in his hands.
You have to give Antetokounmpo, some credit for Ron Rothstein pointed this out to us, and we didn't really notice it. But he was saying, as miserable of a free throw shooter as he tended to be, he made clutch free throws, which is a huge differential, right? Because when they were fouling him at the end of the game, and it was 1 point or a 3 point, 1 point or a 3 point, he would make two and make it a 3-point lead.
Yes,
and put some degree of difficulty on the other team to come back. So it wasn't necessarily a useful tactic. But now, I mean, isn't he shooting like close to 70% or something from the free throw line? That's not terrible.
No, Giannis has changed his free throw game a lot. Last year, by the time the playoffs came around, you couldn't do what they had done to him the year before. Like,
how flawed must your shot be to be a pro basketball player? This is all you have to do is play basketball. And you're shooting 53% from the free throw line, like some of these all-time bricklayers. How could you not just go Larry Bird and shoot like 1,000 free throws a day until you got good at it? Some people just never have it. I mean, Shaq, just would line up those bricks.
The problem is these guys will practice and they do well in practice. Like, that's the thing that's weird about it is, like, in practice they do well, and then they get out in front of everyone and they just get in their head. It's all about mental. That's what it is. It's your wide open shot. All these guys can hit wide open shots. Like, you can be the biggest doof, and in pregame they're nailing. I've watched like the center that never takes a three hit 10 in a row in a pregame, but once they get out there with the action, with the crowd, with the everything, they get in their head. And Simmons was
all of a sudden he's Billy Pauls, right?
Exactly.
By the way, we were wrong about Billy Pauls. He wasn't the flounder. He was the Whopper. One of our fans pointed out to me. And, that was his nickname, the Whopper. Andy and I were running that around. I do have a good trivia question for you, Lubie. You want to hit that before we hit the break here?
Sure.
All right. Okay. Eddie Egan. Eddie Egan is known for what? Eddie Egan. It's Winter Olympics related.
Oh, okay.
Eddie Egan.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know. I thought I.
It's not the guy that slid off the mountain there, in the beginning of the Wide World of Sports thing. No, that wasn't that guy. Eddie Egan holds the distinction, and he's not the only one to have done this now, but he was for a long time the only person to have won a medal, and I believe it was a gold medal, but it was he medaled in both the Winter and the Summer Games. So, and an odd combination, right? He has his medal in the Winter Olympics in the bobsled, all right? And you know what he won his summer medal for? Boxing. Totally unrelated. So you have to love that, right? Now, was baseball in the Summer Games? So what about that guy from the Marlins there that played on the Olympic baseball team? Did he get a medal? And he also had a medal in, like, speed skating, didn't he?
I don't know if
the kid from South Florida. Yeah.
I think the American baseball team's sort of been weird. I don't know if they medaled.
Did they at least get a bronze in the Olympics? What was that? A couple of years ago, right? Weren't they playing baseball in the Olympics? Who knows, right?
Used to forever, but didn't they stop it and then they brought it back?
Oh yeah, they brought miniature golf in. That was great. I wonder how influential some of that capital from the miniature golf lobby was when they spoke with the head of the IOC. Who is the head of the IOC now? You never see this guy.
Yeah.
Some criminal. Where is he? I don't know. Who is it? I used to know. It was like Juan Antonio Samaranch, a known criminal.
This guy's smarter. Or girl, or lady.
Guy's like laying low, man.
We're just going to hang out and just have them feed my account.
He's got like a Cayman bank account that
he's smart
rolling numbers into. It's
that was the problem. My problem with Samaranch was that it was like the FIFA guy where he didn't hide it. He was just
Nothing,
like, he'd be like you said, Flavor Flav, and he'd have like 7 necklaces and a harem. It's like you can at least pretend like it's about the Olympics. Juan, like
he had like a giant gold watch hanging from his neck there. He could have been part of the halftime show.
Like, dude,
at this year's Super Bowl. I mean, yeah. Why wasn't Flavor Flav involved there? I mean, you're going to go classic rap. All right, we're coming back with more. Hialeah Park, just a great place to go. We love Frank Fiore and all the people at Hialeah Park, the Brunettis, as I've said many, many times here, just unwavering support for everything I've done. And I couldn't appreciate it anymore. And you're going to appreciate what they've done for the patrons there and the clientele at Hialeah Park. Because when you walk in there, there's nothing worse than walking into a casino that feels like a morgue, right? And, the music is being piped in, but they're blowing taps. And you're thinking, I'm a dead man walking in here. May as well just leave my money at the door and go back home. You want to be entertained, and you want to have a good time, and you want to know that your money is going to be in play and that you're alive maybe to win some big money or just, go out and have a pleasant evening without getting destroyed in the first 5 minutes. And that's the way it is at Hialeah Park. One of the rarities about casinos these days, because there is no shame in this gambling business, except, at Hialeah Park, they take great pride in making sure that all of the patrons there, all of the people that come through the doors have a great time from the time they walk onto the grounds. Beautiful. And the dazzling casino, the poker room is extremely well run. And, of course, we love the Champion simulcasting room there at Hialeah Park. Always great events going on and a great place for special events. If you have a group or anything and you're looking for, we had 10 people last night at this restaurant here in South Florida. It would have been nice to just make arrangements if there was something going on with a lot of people. Go to Hialeah Park and make arrangements to have a party there. Just absolutely fantastic. You can check into that. Always opportunities there for a great dinner and private party arrangements. Go to HialeahPark.com. You can find out more about that aspect of things. So many different reasons to go to Hialeah Park. And just its breathtaking beauty alone is enough to inspire you to head down to Hialeah or up to Hialeah, wherever you're coming from. If you're from out of town, you haven't been here, Hialeah Park Casino should be probably among your very first stops. Would you agree, Lubie?
It should be a South Florida move, as we say. It should be a place in South Florida that you make it a point to go see, to get the landmark.
Yeah, destination South Florida, man. It's like seeing a landmark of gigantic proportions, including that scene, which I still don't understand. How what was Coppola thinking when he put that scene in The Godfather, where Corleone is driving down, here to South Florida, and he's on the streets, and then all of a sudden he's making a left turn. No, a right turn at the Citation statue on the grounds of Hialeah Park. like he was on a regular street. Then all of a sudden he's going to see like going to see Hyman Roth there, and he's on his way to his house, which was some nondescript place, right? Because the guy didn't want everybody to know that he was like a filthy rich mafia guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're at the Citation statue, as if it was the corner of Lejeune and Dixie Highway or something.
I love that in movies when like they take something and just make it what they want it to be, and the people who are from that area are like, that's not how it is.
I still, by the way, hold the rights to that stallion share that Paulie Man sold me on the Citation statue. The horse ever decides to go to the barn and hit the hay, so to speak. All right, we're coming back with more here on the Defo Show. Having a good time. Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars, we'll get a little postscript there. His thoughts on the Super Bowl and where the NFL stands right now. Supposedly, those allegations that were being completely snuffed out by Roger Goodell at the very beginning now become very serious about Stephen Ross.
I told you yesterday, it was like a big report from Rappaport.
Yeah. That they could force him out. Now, I mean, think about what it takes to get forced out of professional football as one of the 32 owners. You had that guy Richardson. He was forced out, right? Racial stuff and sexual assault. You know, the usual stuff that goes on in the NFL offices for some reason. Well, I mean, it really is. It's the old, what the hell is going on out there?
Power.
Dan Snyder, I mean, how is he still in the league? Dan Snyder.
That's impressive. That's a talent.
So think about that. I mean, what an embarrassment to be just forced to sell your NFL franchise if you're Stephen Ross, who all along seemed like, I mean, he doesn't strike me as being an indecent type of person, does he? And his controversies are usually out of bozoicness more so than any kind of evil.
Either stupidity or arrogance. It depends on which angle you want to take from it. That's
He didn't strike me as being exceptionally arrogant, though.
Get evil from him. No. But you don't get evil. It's just, it's so stupid that you're like, a lot of people say, well, it's not that he's stupid. It's that he's so
You're stupid. Yeah.
That he just doesn't care. He's assuming he'll get away with it. That's what a lot of people will say, because the stuff he does is really dumb. Like, to really offer $100,000, even if it's a joke, like, that's my favorite thing about that defense. Well, he was joking. Well, he's an idiot. Why would you joke about that? Like, that's a stupid ass joke.
It's like, you're going through TSA and you jokingly say to the agent, well, I mean, don't bother checking for that bomb I have in my duffel bag.
Like, they're not going to laugh. You're going to be in a room.
Probably a mistake.
Like, come on.
Evan, don't mention my name. Is always worried I'm going to say something at the TSA thing, just clowning around, you know.
You're actually good about it.
But even I refrain.
You're good about it.
Me, with my big mouth, I refrain from cracking jokes in those situations. It's becoming a very tough world, though. You say something to anybody right now, and they're very paranoid.
Yes.
Well, what happened to just being friendly? I mean, did that go? Is that completely gone? That's toast?
It depends.
You're walking. I'm walking on my walk of life, and you say hello to somebody, or you crack a joke, and they look at you like, "What are you out here to kill me?" They start giving you their wallet. We're coming back with more. I'm sort of lost in the Winter Games right now. There's a big controversy though about the Russian skater, the 15-year-old.
We can talk about that when we get back, because I'm so confused by the whole thing. Like, if you smoke,
it's very weird.
But if you're cheating blatantly, that's okay. Like, I know.
You know what? I'm not sure. I mean, they don't disclose what it was that was in her system. They just said it was a banned substance, and they're claiming it was somehow a mix-up that she ended up taking her grandfather's heart medication.
Okay,
there's a good one.
She happens to be from Russia. That's not allowed to be Russia because of this exact thing, and they're doing it again. But no. It's not that.
I mean, at least A-Rod, didn't try to make up some cockamamie story like that. He just lied.
Yeah, he said
that was better. Still never forget him looking at Peter Gammons, man. And that was the one time I was disappointed in Peter Gammons, and I don't know why I can't get over it. I always loved Gammons. He seemed to really love baseball. He made you feel good about the game. He had these very succinct reports that seemed to include very accurate and hard to come up with information. His theories about the game seem to be very relevant to me. Yep. Always loved him. And then he's sitting across from A-Rod, and he goes, so, Alex, did you ever use any kind of performance-enhancing drugs? And A-Rod looks at him with a look on his face that, I mean, just screamed, liar!
Yeah, he wasn't confident at all.
And he goes, no. And Gammons goes, yeah, okay, so how excited are you to go to spring training?
Even
Like,
A-Rod was
what?
shocked
What,
that he
Pete?
moved on.
You're going to let him off the hook there? Not that I'm some tough Mike Wallace type of interviewer. I mean, I like doing interviews with people that are having fun.
Yeah, that's all we do.
But, and I remember Tony Segreto, remember when he was like grilling Rick Pitino about all of that stuff? It was like, Tony, back off, man. Let's have some fun with this guy.
Yes.
Tony was being a responsible journalist. But, I mean, in this case, you had to ask another question about this, did you not?
Or even joke about it. But, like, that's what you'll do. You'll at least joke about it. You'll bring it up and try and joke and just see how they react to it. And then off of that, you'll go one way or the other. He just asked once. A-Rod said, no. And he's like, okay, I was playing for the Yankees. What are your expectations?
I always thought listeners and now in this case viewers, they could see right through, the fraud if you were trying to present it as a host on a show. Like if that isn't your game, then you shouldn't go into it necessarily. Although some things you just can't ignore, right? I mean, there are issues that if you don't ask that question, you really do look like a fool. My favorite, though, there was a local announcer here. I want to leave the name out of it because I had great respect for this man. But, I mean, he was the toughest guy when a guy wasn't on a show with him, right? He would be just absolutely lambasting and crucifying commissioners, anybody that was, ownership, whatever. And then he'd get the guy on a show and, he'd be like interviewing Adolf Hitler and go, so Adolf, that was kind of a bad rap you got about what happened.
Oh, no.
It's like, bad rap?
Oh, no.
All credibility. Shot. And that's what we're all about here on the Defo Show, credibility. And that's why we're here. Happy to be with you. Harvey Fialkoff later on. You're saying who? And he's great. South Florida sports writing legend Harvey Fialkoff was part of a great crew there with the South Florida Sun Sentinel. They probably went, a dozen deep at least with really excellent sports writers. Can you imagine having a dozen sports writers on a staff here? Circulation of this newspaper was never, like excessive, 300,000, something like that. Good size, but it's not like it's the New York Post or the Times or the Daily News where they have millions of copies going out every day. And wow, they went like, I mean, you could name a dozen guys. We have a bunch of them on the show all the time.
Yep.
And it's interesting that was what was happening in sports coverage back in the day. You had all of these really creative people that were out there that took their jobs, well, let's face it. If you have a job in this business, it's like you really never worked a day in your life. Would you agree when you hear Mayo talking about his expense account travels to Buffalo? Even he managed to make Buffalo into a decent city. I had a few bogus, I'm ashamed to admit, I had a few bogus expense reports when I was traveling back in the day, mostly for WIOD. They had plenty of money coming in. So it wasn't like I felt any guilt about it. And it wasn't as if there wasn't a wink-wink arrangement that, okay, go ahead, pad that out a little bit. Yeah. Because I had to factor in my losses at Exarban Racetrack while I was covering the College Baseball World Series, where there was nothing to do for like the 8 days between games, except go to the track every day and eat. And so, I had to bury a bunch of those, $300 loss days, in various steakhouses in Omaha. And it was kind of funny. One time they called us on the carpet on this thing. I think I mentioned this before, where both Sonny Hirsch and I had taken the entire Canes coaching staff out for dinner on our expense account at the same place.
You? Oh, Jesus. Should at least plan that.
Guy looks at us, the general manager says, so how many coaches they have on the staff this year? Defo, I can't believe you have been corrupted. Right? We thought you were the good, hardworking, honest young guy.
It was a different Defo.
Nobody ever thought that.
I never knew that Defo.
All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here. I've been throwing it to this break for the last 10 minutes. I'm sorry. Sorry, people. Yeah. Albert's running out of chords there, Albert Castillo. And where is that customized music, Albert?
I'm going to text him. He doesn't respond when I text him.
He is in southern blues rock heaven right now, playing in Macon, Georgia.
Oh,
recording home of the Allman Brothers, of course, with the great Tab Benoit. So on quite a tour. So nice distinction for us to have private rights to his music here. Yes. And yet he's customized the stuff. He said he recorded it. I mentioned it yesterday. I think the tapes are in hock right now until they pay their studio time. If you were running a music studio, would you give the tapes to the guy and he hadn't paid for the session time yet? Or would you realize that you would never see this band again?
No, you can't give it until you get paid.
You'll get the stuff when I get my money. All right, we're coming back with more here on the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Michael Lubie, Lubitz with you on this fine Tuesday. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:54. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
Dusty Rhodes has Killer Carl Cox in the figure four. Wait a minute, there's Harley Race, the world champion. Jimmy Garvin trying to break that up, caught with a headbutt by Harley Race, the world heavyweight champion. Harley Race, poised on that high ring rope, crashes down on the side of Dusty Rhodes. Race moving in, trying to separate, trying to break up that figure four. Killer Carl Cox caught in that figure four. Harley Race now helping Killer Carl Cox out of the ring. And Dusty Rhodes being administered to by Jimmy Garvin.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs, thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Never see detective shows, Mike Levy Lubitz. Welcome back to the show, by the way, the Defo Show here on Ion Channel. Jack Namer's fine organization. Jeff Deforrest, and that is Mike Lubie Lubitz that you see on screen. Been working together for going on. I mean, it's probably
Almost
close to 12 years now. Yeah.
Professor asked, he's like, how long is it? I'm like, it's almost 12. It's like a fight.
I guess it will be 12, I think, in July.
Sure.
So,
In
yeah,
July,
we're closing in on 12 years together. This last few months, of course, here on Ion Channel, and trying to establish a whole new thing, which, we're having a lot of fun with. So, hope you guys are enjoying it. Tell your friends, Google the Defo Show, DEFO. Just Google that thing, and it pops up. You'll get today's show and all the other things that we've done here, which it's starting to mount up a little bit, Lubie. I mean, we have a little volume, a body of work here now on Ion Channel,
Before you move
which...
on, you brought up something early, and I do want them
Yeah.
to find this here on Ion, 5 Reasons and Belief. I've been in this thing of polls because you threw out something that I thought was funny. Super Bowl
Yeah.
just ended, so of course now we have to worry about next year, even though it literally just ended. We haven't even gotten to free agency yet or draft. So of course we need to pick the Super Bowl champion next year. So I made it our poll for the day. So the Super Bowl just ended. So of course we must turn our attention to next year. Who you got to win it all next year? Chiefs, Bills, Rams, or the field? Because those were your top three, you said.
Yes.
According to Vegas, or the field. Right now, it's a tie. Right now, the Bills are the favorite at 43% in our poll at Defo Show. We want you to get in on it on Twitter.
The Bills are certainly a viable consideration. I mean, obviously, if their odds are the same as the Kansas City Chiefs, Chiefs with the chokeometer are starting to disturb me a little bit.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I mean, and that goes two ways, right? Either the guy realizes, hey, man, I can't get soft in his spot like Mahomes did. And supposedly there was, Brandon Lang was telling us that story, that he had an inside source that told him, which, take this for whatever you want, but that told him that there was a big blow up in the locker room between Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes about not kicking the field goal at the end of the half and taking the points. Bieniemy was saying, listen, you have to put points on the board. We're going to the Super Bowl if we win this game. You can't forsake this. And all of a sudden, you're rolling the dice. We're in a commanding position here, and we have a chance to go ahead. And as everybody saw, those 3 points, really radically did change the dynamic of the game, did they not?
Yes, it changed
Right?
everything.
I mean, everything. Okay, you're not in overtime theoretically, although you really couldn't make that judgment. But it would have kept Kansas City in a commanding position or the controlling position, right? I mean, it's like you're on top in a college wrestling match, right? And eventually they give you a couple of points for dominating the position there or whatever. What is that called in college wrestling, Lubie? Do you know the predicament?
I do not know the predicament.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite point assessment when you got. I think it was it 2 points or 3 points for a predicament where you had the guy almost pinned, but you didn't get the pin. You might have been a successful high school wrestler. I mean, with your body type and mad inner strength. Because when you held off that Jeff Monson guy from the Bellator or whatever that was, that minor league UFC thing.
He had done Bellator and was about to fight in the UFC.
Yes.
And he's in studio with
a monster. I mean, I assure you, people, I wish we had a picture of this guy we could put on the screen. This guy at Lubie was, I mean, in a rear, a reverse chokehold. Yeah. I guess rear reverse, you would be on top. No, I mean, you were on the floor and gasping for air. And you wouldn't tap out. And why did you have to tap out? Why didn't the guy just let you go? He saw that you were dying.
I was passing out. I was literally
because it clicks in certain athletes, right? And they just become like a monster.
What it was, he was waiting for me to just tap out, and he's like, "What is wrong with this guy?"
I don't know, Libby. Yeah, no,
that's my moment to show I had might, and you're like yelling. There's like a crowd of people. They're like, "Tap out, you idiot!"
I mean, look, you could have owned iHeartMedia. Of course, you would have inherited whatever debt they're involved in right now. Yep. And I'd have to say, after looking, I don't want to condemn management at any place that I was in the past. That's not my thing. Look, we're always happy when we have a platform like we do here on Ion Channel. It's great to be with you guys. As we said, spread the word there. Just have people Google the Defo Show, and hopefully they will like what they see. Now, later on, we're going to talk to Harvey Fialkoff about a variety of things. He probably wants to dive into a little NBA. Of course, we're in South Florida, so he's zeroed in on the Miami Heat, which I think they're having an amazing year. Spoelstra is, I think, 10-1 to win Coach of the Year. Spoelstra is kind of an outsider to win Coach of the Year.
Oh, that's stupid then.
In fact, I have this right in front of me. Right here, Mr. Pentangeli. I have it. Your signed affidavit here. Spo, has done a great job. 10-1. The favorite right now is Monty Williams. A heavy favorite, Monty Williams. All right, what do you think, Libby? Monty Williams. Where the hell is he even coaching?
He's coaching, what's it called? The Suns, isn't he? I think he's coaching the Suns.
Oh, yeah, Phoenix Suns.
But they were supposed to be good, and they've had no one injured. That's dumb. They've had their whole team all year. The West is a mess. Like,
J.B. Bickerstaff is the second choice. J.B. Bickerstaff.
See with the Nuggets?
At 7-2. Who the hell knows? I mean, that's what I was ashamed to say as a sports announcer. That I'm trying to figure out, where do these guys coach? And they're the favorites for the Coach of the Year in the NBA, ahead of Spoelstra. There's one.
Oh, the Cavs.
2,
okay,
3, 4.
Okay, the Cavs. See, Bickerstaff, I can see. The Cavs are supposed to be a disaster.
Cavs have been very good this year.
And the Cavs are a top 3 seed. Fine. But I don't get you always get, when you have a good team that plays well, you don't get lauded for that. Like that's a weird thing and Monty Williams doing an amazing job, but it should be between Bickerstaff and Spoelstra. The Heat have been banged up all year long and have somehow just stayed the course. And then Chicago,
how they're leading their division is beyond comprehension. Are they the top team overall? No, they're not top team in the East, are they? Altogether, the Miami Heat
for a long time. I don't know.
Yeah. The Bucks were surging a little bit, and you had the
Heat are right now still a half game up on the Bulls.
Okay, and the Bulls, have been good all season, but Levine lately has been banged up. So
you'll think
Zach Levine.
We don't know what that will happen.
Now, is he Jewish? Zach Levine?
No,
you would have to
think. No, L-A-I-N-E. I don't think he's Jewish. No.
Zach Levine, man. Because I was going to say it's remarkable that he was able to dunk because somehow
he's like a dunker.
Laws of gravity did not. I mean, when did you ever see? Did any of the Jewish kids in your neighborhood ever dunk? Never. Not even Barry Feinberg, and he was like 6'4", this kid. 6'4", he couldn't dunk a basketball. All right. Well, we're coming back with Harvey Fialkov. I don't know that Harvey could ever dunk, but he was probably a pretty good basketball player, a good overall athlete, Harvey Fialkov. Could you see him playing baseball? You know, the way he kind of has, he has like a walk like he's in a Texas shootout. Harvey Fialkov. He kind of saunters in. Could you see him playing baseball? You know, maybe having a glove in his back pocket? I think so.
For sure.
Wrote a long time for the Sun Sentinel. Covered everything, including the Miami Dolphins. So we'll get into a bunch of different stuff with Harvey Fialkov. Coming up, longtime sports writer with the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars. That's brought to you by Will and Trust Attorney and the law firm of one Michael D. Wild. Outstanding services, people. I can say that firsthand after he had handled the living trust for my mother, who passed away last June. And my brother is great at this kind of stuff. He can navigate through any kind of red tape and bureaucratic turmoil, okay? Bureaucratic turmoil is what I meant to say there, Lubie. Yeah. And he would have found it impossible without Michael D. Wild to navigate our way through all of the things that had to happen in order to get this whole trust fund going in the right direction, which was mine in his pocket. But nonetheless, the legal entanglements are so bizarre that if you don't have somebody good doing this for you, believe me, it becomes, a nightmare where you may even sacrifice the money that your family had put together or whatever. Right? That obviously they wanted to have me go and gamble at the track. I have been spending a lot more lately, Lubie. That's not good. All right. Harvey Fialkov, Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars, Michael Wild, Will and Trust Attorney and estate planner extraordinaire, really does a great job. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. You heard from John Kajemi yesterday. The spark has been ignited, Mike Lubitz, for the trip to be solidified.
Nice.
Great Tommy Fox. Yeah. So we're going to head down there to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. And what we're going to find is what we found there last time, a spectacular environment to relax and enjoy yourself in. It couldn't be any better. You know what wouldn't be bad? Maybe, it's too late in March, maybe. I want to do this sooner than that. But get down there and be in that sports bar for the NCAA tournament.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wow.
We can do it.
Nice, yeah. Rent a couple of wave runners, go out there on the bay side, roll around there, come back, have a couple of cocktails, something great to eat. And the ultimate in relaxation in just an absolutely perfect setting with great food and drink. Reasonable prices, too. You know what? They can jack the prices a little bit in the Keys. We're down here all alone here, and there's always the threat of a hurricane.
They do.
We can get wiped out at any minute, so I got to charge you a little more for that. But no, very, very, very comfortable, everything that happens there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. So you're going to love it. It's mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway. Of course, anything Jimmy puts his name on, is going to be first class. Larry Calvano, the owner of the place, really a dynamite guy. And John's brother, Dominic Kajemi, you talk about mensch.
Yes.
A true mensch. And so always a good time. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104. Key Largo. All right, back with Harvey Fialkov. We'll explore the entire wide world of sports in just a moment. Now that.
The time
is 8:07.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered
with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
Where, the professor has now been obsessed. He was betting all kinds of weird stuff. I almost said something that rhymes with zit. During the pandemic, right? That would have been 2 weeks in a row. Right? What's going on with that brain, Deforrest? You better get that Prevagen. You got any jellyfish I can eat? That seems to be the thing that restores your memory.
Jellyfish.
Do you buy into that?
No.
Because Diana Nyad would have never forgotten a thing if that was true. She was swallowing jellyfish from Havana to Key West.
That was sick. What was that? That was disgusting. That poor woman's face. You talk about looking like Chuck Wepner. She looked like Chuck Wepner when they pulled her out of the water.
She was wearing a jellyfish on her head that looked like a yarmulke, right? I thought she was straight out of shul. I'm like, wow.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
How ironic was it that part of that commentary there, Jersey Kyle Martinez actually suffered immensely for a weekend after having a jellyfish get stuck in his trunks.
Yes.
Talk about a foreign object. All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show here on Ion Channel. Great to be with you, Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz. Always a pleasure every Tuesday to talk with this gentleman. We love his unbridled, overwhelming enthusiasm for the sporting world. He wrote about it with that same zeal. And, of course, brings it to the table here every Tuesday for us. Harvey Fialkoff joins us here on the show. Harvey, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. Another brisk morning in South Florida.
Yeah,
Getting ready to play tennis today. Can't wait to get out there. I've been umpiring all weekend. A great junior tournament, Plantation Biltry Tennis Center. Seeing the stars of the future. Threw out a few kids, but, hey, it's fun being an umpire. I got power, baby.
Wait. You threw out kids? What are the kids doing that you're throwing out kids?
Yes, a 13-year-old Czech girl went ballistic. She didn't like my original call, and then the referee came out, and she screamed out, "What is wrong with all you American referees?"
You threw her out for that?
As a 13-year-old?
No. She was even cursing her own stepdad.
Well, what are you, Joe West, all of a sudden? You threw her out for that? Are you kidding me? What if Lasorda was yelling at you?
You got to teach these kids early, man, or else they'll turn into like Illy Nastasi,
That'd be a little frightening. Were her parents there? I would assume she had some kind of parent and or guardian there, and maybe these Czechoslovakians, don't take that very lightly. That a Jewish kid from New York threw out their daughter when she was about to win a championship that would have led to riches.
No, she's very good. She's 13, like 6 foot. She hits the heck out of the ball. Yeah, her stepdad and mother always sit by the court. They try to coach all the time. Even they turned their back on her, but she admitted that she crossed the net to check a ball mark, which they're not allowed to do according to USTA rules. The father would scream at her what a stupid move that was, and she called her dad a dumb butthole, basically.
Nice.
If you don't respect the dad,
what was this, young Martina? I mean, what the heck was going on with this girl?
No, I guess they have different rules in Europe where they allow more coaching and more exchange with umpires than they do in America. We can't let them get away with it, or else most of them are spoiled kids. They don't go to school. They just play tennis all day. They all think all these foreign dads and moms, they bring their kids over from Europe. They think they're going to be Sharapovas and Sonia Cannons, which have made it, but it's like 1 out of 1,000 that make it. They all think they're going to be the next superstars of tennis. So they just have to behave on the court. Tennis is all about etiquette and honesty and good line calling. Just don't get Ira Winderman involved.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Winderman your opponent today? Because you've got a pair of opaque glasses that you can also use to make line calls.
The Helen Keller of line calls. The rule is if you overrule a player 3 times on line calls, then you get a code violation for unsportsmanlike conduct. And that has occurred several times.
Oh yeah, it's got to be bitter out there. Are you kidding me? Now, were you afraid to start your car after you chucked this kid out of the tournament there in front of her Czechoslovakian parents who spoke no English, but were overheard saying in some kind of Czech dialect that it would be advisable that you have somebody else turn the ignition on?
Hey, there's another dad who played NFL football, I don't want to bring up his name. He's got 3 daughters playing. He's very abusive to his daughters. And I overruled his daughter at the Biltmore Hotel once. And he followed me into the umpire room, like,
Oh, wow.
and you know, basically disagreed with my call vehemently. I said, I don't want to talk about it. I don't give a flying, you know what you want to talk about. This guy could have bent me into a pretzel. And I see him all the time. But luckily, you know, he's very tough on his kids. I mean, his girl's always crying while she plays. Even if she's
It's always
winning or
good,
losing.
man. A pro athlete that becomes a little league parent.
Oh no.
Yeah. This guy, man, he's built like Terry Crews from America's Got Talent.
Wow. And you weren't afraid to go ahead and just, you know, kind of spit in this guy's face in his anger.
Well, I got out of there quick. I'll tell you that. Luckily,
He's like running.
and man, I got in my car and stepped on it. But then I saw him
Yeah.
a week later at Plantation, and kind of made nice with him, if you know what I mean. You know, talking about his daughter after development. So anyhow, it's a lot
I
of
thought you
fun.
were going to say he brought you a corned beef sandwich from some local Jewish deli.
He's driving you.
Said, you know, you're going to be out here 5 hours today watching this match and umpiring. Here, you might want something to eat. That would have been nice.
Well, this week,
Yeah.
I'm going to Delray. I'm covering some of the Delray Beach Open, the Flat Bellies, as a writer again. I did a 6 story on Maxim Cressy, young American born in Paris, who is bringing back serve and volley to the sport. He did lose in the 3rd set tiebreaker yesterday to Aussie John Millman. But Stefan Kozlov is playing today. The kid from Pembroke Pines got in there as a qualifier. You got Tommy Paul, Riley Opelka, the 6'11" American who won last week. He won a tournament. He only left the tournament. He's got the big serve. Not much else to back it up. So he'll never win Masters or a Grand Slam. The big boys can't win the big ones because they don't have the endurance and they don't have the rest of the backcourt game that you need to stay with these grinders who can hit the ball all day. So I'll be out there in Delray Beach tomorrow to write a feature, and then on the final weekend, the semis and the finals this weekend in Delray Beach. It's a great tournament. You got a lot of good players. This kid, Jensen Brooksby, I love. He was in the finals last week. So come on out to Delray Beach Open. You can see some great tennis, some intimate basics, much better than the Miami Open, which is now at the Hard Rock, which is, you know, not a great place to watch tennis, especially in the stadium court. But still, it's just fun to see the future stars of tomorrow.
The Mayo Man and I, the Gambling Gourmet, are going to be out there Thursday night. There's like a food tie-in event. Yeah, from a thing called the Red Meat Lovers Club. And they're having a meatballs and tennis balls gala where people can sample all these different meatballs from different restaurants that are in a competition for who makes the best meatball. And then, of course, you also get tickets to the tennis matches that night, which you're right about that, Harvey. And I've said this when I was talking about it with Mayo on his Lunchbox radio show, that it's a great view. And even though these guys might not be the household names that the casual fan would be familiar with, I mean, when you watch these pros hit the ball, Harvey, you like to play just like I do. Of course, you're a lot better than I am, but nonetheless, I mean, watching these guys stripe shot after shot after shot, the defense, and then use finesse and the power, and it's really phenomenal to see it from that vantage point and see how well the game can actually be played and have guys make it look easy.
It's kind of embarrassing to us hackers when I watch these 14-year-olds now, and they're amazing. I would not touch one of these 14-year-old kids who's playing in like these level 5 and 4 junior tournaments. By the way, Sebastian Korda is going to be out there. He's the next great young American, son of Peter Korda, the Czech guy who won the Australian Open many years ago. He's got 2 daughters on the golf tour, dominating golf. And this kid, Seb Korda, who plays for America, I think this kid's going to be a top 3 player for years to come. He'll be out there this weekend. He was in the finals last year at the Delray Beach Open. He lost to some guy named Herr Cox, who had a good year, but he's not there this year. So it's great tennis, man. And it's empty in daytime. And Wednesdays, it's Senior Citizen Day. It's like
that's when I should go. Yeah.
Price, so, and
I get a discount.
Easy parking in Delray Beach, no problem getting in and out of there. And then go to Atlantic Avenue after for dinner. You know how great and hopping Atlantic Avenue is. So it's just a fun event, Steve.
No, it's nice. I try to get there as often as I can. I wouldn't say it was every year, but every time I've gone, I've always had a good experience. And you're right. You stroll, the street there. Atlantic Avenue has really been built up with a lot of fine restaurants and things to do. So good stuff. All right. What did you think of the Super Bowl, Harvey Fialkoff? What was your position on that?
Hey, Hey, I had no horse in the race. I really enjoyed it. It was a very good game. Third quarter got bogged down after Cincinnati struck early on that non-offensive pass interference call, which is a joke. I mean, the guy twisted Ramsey's neck. I mean, they might have gave the guy like permanent spinal damage.
Yeah.
And the referee, I don't understand how you can't challenge, I guess, a no call. It's
Remember, they
ridiculous.
did. They got rid of it because they were botching the challenging of PIs. Even
Oh,
though
really?
It's still,
They used to be
they had
able
it
to
for years.
challenge that?
It was like
that
a
was
year
terrible.
where they did it, and they were challenging every PI, and it was stupid and it bogged down the game.
Yeah, and then they call the ticky tack one, on the Bengals by the goal line with a minute and change to go. The guy barely touched him. And it helped keep that drive alive that they ended up scoring the winning touchdown. Listen, I think the key to the game was McVay totally outcoached Zach Taylor, rookie coach. First of all, goes for a gamble in the opening series, 4th and 1 on the 50. That was ridiculous. And then obviously the Rams marched down and scored. Beckham was having a great game until he got hurt. And then at the end, the second half, Aaron Donald did nothing. He was invisible the first half. One of the greatest defensive players since Lawrence Taylor. But clearly that McVay made adjustments. And I don't know what he was doing, but suddenly Aaron Donald could not be stopped. Remember, he pushed Burrow out of bounds. They started getting in his face, and I think that ignited him. After that, Burrow had no time to throw. He twisted his knee back on one of them. I thought that he was going to be out for the next year, let alone come back in the game. And I think that when they went to more running plays, and they got stuffed. And I think Burrow wins that game if Aaron Donald just doesn't. And then remember, he pulled the running back on 3rd and 1. You can't get a first down on 3rd and 1 on the 2-minute drill at the end there. Then you should deserve to lose. But still, I hate the officiating get involved. But felt good for Stafford. It's a real feel-good story. Stuck in football hell in Detroit, just like which caused Barry Sanders to retire earlier. It's a nice story. Had a sick wife. She's fine now. For a beautiful family. So that was a nice story in itself. And also, by the way, Cooper Kupp, holy mackerel. The only guy that they had to throw to, and every play the kid made when he had to, reminded me of Brady the West Welker in certain situations. So he deserved to me that MVP. Should have been shared with Donald at the end. But it's just an exciting game, some good commercials. Of course, my favorite, Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost, because I'm in love with Scarlett Johansson. Johansson, I didn't pronounce her name. That was good. I liked the bowling alley commercial. Serena Williams walked in at the end, and of course, Peyton Manning's a legend on TV commercials. So I also liked the Schwarzenegger Zeus commercial, the electric car commercial. That was great. How about you guys? What was your favorite commercial?
Well, what was amazing, for me, it became any commercial without Peyton Manning in it, which was like 3.
I like that one, actually. The one where
the fucking guy's in everything. That's all you can say, right? Peyton Manning. And obviously, he's got a great personality, and people like him, and they should. As an accomplished player, but and always seemed to be very gracious about everything. But a mind for making money, huh? Because he stayed out of the easy capital that Tony Romo's getting, and has this monster production thing going where he and his brother are in every commercial. There isn't anything. Pretty soon they're going to ace Selleck out of that reverse mortgage commercial.
Yes,
and you'll be seeing Peyton Manning looking sincerely into a camera, going, "You know what? You want to lose your home quickly? Deal with us." Yeah.
Did you see
you senior citizen fools out there. Yeah.
You see him on SNL a few weeks ago on News Update talking about some silly TV show, and they wanted to talk about football. He's just a natural on TV, man.
So he's done great for himself.
I give him props.
Even Archie's in like a sportsbook commercial now. I mean, they brought Archie back from the dead. And, all of a sudden his persona and personality, name, image, and likeness is worth a lot of money. All right. We have a couple of things going on, and, we've lost track kind of. What happened in the hockey season? Did they have no game scheduled for a while because of the All-Star break? They were going to the Olympics. What the hell happened? I mean, what a cockamamie schedule.
I mean, they're not playing in the Olympics. No NHL players. They take their All-Star break. It seems like they're getting a month off, the Panthers. I mean, it was so hot. It was a horrible time to take the season off.
It's like the circus came to town.
These guys, it's weird. Yeah, right. In San Antonio. Remember, they didn't play at home for like a month?
Yep.
But no, I don't understand. It's just a long break. I think they're playing Thursday night, I believe.
They play tomorrow. It says tomorrow night they have their next game, Wednesday.
Hey, best team in hockey. They got to win their first playoff series since 1996. It's getting ridiculous. Like the Dolphins being in Super Bowl appearances. I mean, it's like decades and decades. So if this isn't the year, they're getting Hornquist back. I mean, right now they got everything going. 4 lines. Huberdeau's a superstar who's leading the league in points at the break. Barkov, we know, is a superstar. They got all the pieces around him. Forget about Quenneville. I mean, guy, been buried in that cancel culture, got canceled for something that happened 20 years ago. But Burnett is just you don't even have to. I could coach this team right now, Deep, and they're looking really good. I love the fact that we got the Heat and the Panthers basically on the tops of the respective sporting world, and still all we talk about are the Dolphins and losses and all this garbage. So just enjoy what you got, Miami, instead of what you don't have in the Miami Dolphins.
Although, I mean, it's hard to ignore. I mean, we're always at the epicenter of every lame controversy, especially when it involves the Dolphins organization. And the assertion that Stephen Ross was going to pay Brian Flores $100,000 a game to lose games. I mean, and think about this. I mean, there's so many ironies. Wouldn't you like to be a beat writer on a Dolphins beat to uncover the dust off of this thing? Because you had a guy, and his issue also was with minority head coach hirings, and yet he finally got a job after 15 years as a head coach. And in his first year, he's got the owner of the team telling him to deliberately lose, which could only lead to what? Like a year where they once again conclude in Al Campanis type fashion. Well, you see, you hired the black head coach.
Exactly.
You didn't really have it.
Well, yeah. Well,
so, even less incentive for this guy to take Stephen Ross up on this. But if there really is tangible evidence, which I would imagine would be hard to find, where he doesn't just excuse it away and say, I was only joking, man. I can't believe he took me seriously. And
you better have it on tape. You better have it on tape, man. I mean, Michelle Kaufman wrote a great story on Ross the other day about his history and how he became rich and all that. And now everybody seems to respect the guy. I can't imagine him doing that. I mean, you better have it on tape or proof. And also, Mr. Ethical, why did Flores, tell everybody this happened when it occurred? Because obviously he didn't want to lose his job. But still, if you're really ethical, report it right away, at least to it privately, so Ross would not, do it.
But
again.
that could have easily been the end of his career that he just got started. I mean, that's a tough one. He obviously responded by just being openly defiant about it, because he did win 5 games that year with a team of absolute NFL bag ladies.
Yeah, Mark Fitzpatrick, the Magic Man.
Well, that's the thing. He played Fitzpatrick.
Bag ladies, as I said, bag ladies.
He Rosen and gotten them.
But a classy bag lady. This was one with like a motorized shopping cart, but with Fitzpatrick. But I mean, the rest of them, they literally were picking up guys at the flea market.
Yeah.
They would have had Burrow.
Yes,
if he took the $100K, they would have had no Burrow. Who I think is the next Joe Namath. I don't know if you saw that Joe Namath bit when he talked about Burrow, how Joe cool it. I thought that was excellent. I thought Joe was great in that bit. But listen, guys. Hey, by the way, as far as coach of the year in the NBA, it's got to be the Bulls, man. Look, if it's not Spo, it's got to be Billy Donovan. Other than DeRozan, name another player on the Bulls. I mean, this guy, Billy Donovan, is doing a job. Chicago Bulls. Also, Bickerstaff on Cleveland. That's a pretty amazing job, also. But I love it the fact that these superstar teams with trios, like the Heat used to have, are all bombing out. Like the Nets and the Lakers. And to me, Kyrie Irving continues to be a cancer on the team. He single-handedly has destroyed that team's hopes this year, and maybe probably years to come, with his Djokovic-like anti-vaccine stance. And I listen. I don't think Harden's the answer at Philadelphia. I know guys like Harden and Westbrook. They put up the stats, but they don't win because they're ball hogs. And then they don't depend on anyone else down the stretch. And obviously, and Westbrook is a choker. He never hit the clutch shot. Triple-double. You can take a triple-double. Give me guys that move the ball around. Like Jimmy Butler, who shares the ball and plays team basketball. And the ball movement is the key to success in the NBA, not individual statistics.
Harden, though, did show an ability when he first lined up with the Big Three there in Brooklyn last year. When he was acquired, that he could be a catalyst, a distributor, a guy that assimilates himself into an offense, even to the sacrifice of his own individual points. in a ball game, and it was great when he was doing that with Durant
Yes.
and Kyrie Irving. I mean, it was very entertaining to watch. I would have to say, you had these three superstars who had found a little bit of a balance, but that kind of unraveled this year, and they've rarely played together. So that was
No,
an
19
unfortunate
games,
experiment.
19
But I think Joel Embiid will stuff him into the back of a trash compactor in Philadelphia. I mean, he will be there with some old cheesesteak cheese whiz that wasn't used in a restaurant. I mean, just stuffed in there if he went back to his old ways of putting up 57 points a night on 42
Hey, they got
shots.
Maxey also. This guy Maxey in Philadelphia is just a dynamite ball player, and Beats had an MVP like year. So listen, I hope Harden does assimilate onto that team. It could be scary for the Heat in the playoffs if they do meet up with the Sixers. But right now they are just cooking on all cylinders. Miami Heat. Spo is clearly a great coach. Injuries, COVID, Butler's out, Lowry's out for 2 weeks, personal reasons. It doesn't matter. You don't skip a beat with that guy. And look at the plays they developed. We talked about it before. Struce and Gabe Vincent. I think these guys could start in any team right now. And Dedmon was a great pickup. So, and they had the other young center, your seven. So I just love watching this team. Anyone who's inserted seems to come through in the clutch for the ball club. So I just hope it's another great season for the Heat. It's go advance far in the playoffs. As far as me being an all-around athlete, Steve, nobody made greater play. I was Brooks Robinson at third base. I was in basketball. I had a quick release. I was deadly from the outside. Maybe I need a little pick from my tall friends. I was a great ball handler, schoolyard ball player. I was like 5'3", 5'5". They called me a little big man with the big shot, big outside.
Nice. I could see that. No, I mean, you definitely have athletic skills that go beyond the scope of, I mean, not necessarily you're in good shape, but, as a physical specimen, far from imposing in the 60s. And yet you definitely show signs of being a guy that was, an excellent athlete. No doubt about it, Harvey Fialkov.
They thought in my 60s, yeah, and they're still winning games. I played with my son's team in New York. They needed a player, all these flat bellies, 30-year-olds, millennials, and I almost won the game single-handedly, but we lost it in the last inning, or else I would have been treated at a local bar that they was emblazoned on their shirts. But it was great to play with my son, 30-year-old, 60-year-old. That was a lot of fun. We played over in Harvard.
Oh, no, it's always great if you can still do it.
Yeah,
I'm playing tennis with my son tonight, man. He runs me around like a jackrabbit, man. It's unbelievable. And,
I played.
Yeah,
right?
fantastic.
Playing the kids. Yeah,
it's a ritual now. It's a Tuesday night ritual. All right, we have to run. Harvey Fialkov, always a pleasure, my friend. And thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on a variety of things. I will probably, if you're at that tennis thing, I'll see you out there Thursday night for that meatballs and tennis balls deal with Mike Mayo of the, also of the Sun Sentinel, or formerly of the Sun Sentinel, as is virtually everybody that we have on the show. So thanks so much, Harvey, for joining us here on the program. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
My pleasure. Read all about it in the Palm Beach Post this weekend. Cowboys.
Sounds good. You heading out there, Lubie, Thursday night? What do you think?
I would actually. If I didn't do my trivia at Landlubbers, I actually would, because that thing sounds super fun, and I haven't been to a live tennis match in a while.
Before South Florida had all of the mainstream professional sports, and they had what? They had the Miami Dolphins and college football, of course.
Yep.
With the Miami Hurricanes, was huge. But the sports landscape here was largely dependent on events just like this, where maybe it wasn't a major league thing. I mean, spring training was a big part of the sporting landscape here in South Florida, and it was always a lot of fun. And, it was always oddball events like the Miami Grand Prix and golf tournaments. So you had the Doral Ryder Open for many years. It was like the Eastern Open for a long, long time. Classic tournaments, Honda Classic, speaking of classics, later on became a part of the sporting scene here. But it was largely made up of these type of events where you would end up going and seeing something that, as you witnessed when the Lipton tennis tournament was going, now the Miami Open, just watching these guys warm up,
it's crazy.
Was spectacular. Yeah, not warm up, but just practice. I mean, they're hitting like an hour before their match or something.
Yep.
That Joe Willie Saga, remember we were watching that guy hitting rocket ship after rocket ship. And the guy who's like a nobody, who's like number 275, he's carrying his bag of rackets. is just as good and looks like Roger Federer on the other side of the court. And he's a nobody. And you're thinking, wow, how good do you have to be at the very top of that game? So you get a little bit of a glimpse of that if you go to this kind of, I guess, what would it be, a satellite tournament? It's not really satellite.
They get some people. I mean, because so many players come out of South Florida, you'll get a nice contingent.
Yeah, and then we do have the Miami Open coming up in March, which Harvey's right. It was a lot more glamorous when it was on Key Biscayne for some reason.
It's a big deal. It's not as big a deal.
The schlep down there was a bit of a pain in the ass, you know, if you're coming from parts north like we are. But once you got there, it was like, whoa, man, look at this. That ocean breeze coming in, it was fantastic. Or I guess the Gulf. All right, we're coming back with more. Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars, will dive into some things about the National Football League and what's on the horizon here and get another postscript here on the Super Bowl, see what Brett thought about the ball game and where everybody stands at the end of that. As there are a lot of things to clarify, right? Because if McVay was leaving, is the guy's name O'Connell, who just took the Vikings job, and he's on McVay's staff?
Yeah, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, so he might have become the Rams coach and then shined on the Minnesota Vikings, who once again find themselves in a total, state of chaos and disarray in the front office, which was at one point, believe it or not, Lubie, being run very smoothly by one Rick Spielman.
Exactly.
The same Rick Spielman who was guilty of bozoic moves when he was the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, like stuff that was as mystifying as anything that we've seen from Chris Greer plus. Rick Spielman, right?
Oh, yeah. Spielman was not good.
Bozo mistake after bozo mistake.
Had a lot
he may as well have just put a big red nose on and floppy shoes as he went to work every morning, because he was making clown moves. And then he became like executive of the year with Minnesota, and they had essentially a winning franchise for a long period of time now. All right, we're coming back with Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars. More on the National Football League and Brett's take on the Super Bowl game, as we'll be with you until 9 o'clock Eastern this morning here on Ion Channel, the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and we'll be back with more in a moment on that.
The time.
Do we do it, Lubie? Do we do a chorus later on our Believe podcast? Our guest, I don't know if it's going to air today, but is going to be Debbie Boone.
Thursday.
Okay, Thursday, that's coming up.
Yeah,
we just start out by saying, you light up my life. If you don't sing with me and embarrass me on this thing, so I look like a complete fool and she hangs up on us. But why would she be angry if we started singing her song? Huh?
Oh, she won.
Now, does anybody know the next couple of words there? You light up my life. Ya-na-na-na.
Ya-na-na-na.
Is it ya-na-na-na? Did she write that on a piece of paper there while she was taking a train somewhere? You light up my life. Ya-na-na-na. Back in a moment. Now that. Did we do that already, Lubie?
That's our first double. That's impressive.
It's 8:36. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
The simple pleasures of this job, the way a stadium sounds when one of my players performs well on the field, the way we are meant to protect them in health and in injury. Less work, more attention, caring for them, caring for ourselves in the games too.
The agent to the stars, the one and only Brett Tessler.
All right, welcome back to the show. Having a good time with you on this fine Tuesday on Ion Channel. Jack Namer's great organization. We say hello to the lovely Amy and Brad, all the good people there that make this thing the technical masterpiece that it sometimes is. And happy to be with you. I'm Jeff Deforrest along with Mike Lubitz. We welcome, as we do every Tuesday right around this time, and his presence brought to you by Will and Trust Attorney and estate planning law firm led by the great Michael T. Wild. We welcome to the show the agent to the stars, Mr. Brett Tessler. Brett, how are you, my friend?
Man, I couldn't be better, Dave. Thanks for having me, as always.
It's a pleasure, and you're coming in loud and clear. Now, what part of the country are you in right now, and what kind of mode are you in? Is there activity in the immediate aftermath of the Super Bowl on the part of an active and very successful NFL agent?
Well, no, I'm just chilling right down here in good old South Florida. And after the Super Bowl, it's kind of an eerie feeling as an agent, because the reality is the season's over. And, you think about everything that goes into the preparation of a season for my clients and myself. And obviously the season itself is long and arduous and an emotional roller coaster. In some cases, a physical roller coaster for some guys. And then, you get to the playoffs, and that's where it's at its most exciting, ultimately leading right up to the Super Bowl, our biggest event of the year. And then it's over, and you're kind of like, what do I do now? And it really is a time as an agent where there's nothing doing, because combine's still weeks away. Players are just at their respective facilities training, preparing for the combine, preparing for the pro day. But, all the all-star games are over. Draft is still a ways away. And so it's really kind of a quiet and, in a way, depressing time right now.
Interesting. I know Lubie's got a question for you here. I would imagine pertaining to the Super Bowl, or maybe some of this nonsense that's going on with Stephen Ross. But I just was curious, as you were speaking, how many phone calls do you think, over or under number, do you feel during the course of a year from various NFL organizations regarding clients, and or, you can include the clients, hey, they're not playing me, can you get me a trade, get me out of here? What would you say the estimate is on number of phone calls you feel work-related during the course of an NFL season? An over-under number that we can, go ahead and get some action on.
Boy, I wouldn't even know how to try to calculate that. But
yeah.
the one thing I can tell you is it's weird how it goes, in the way that when all of your players are signed and thankfully, and under contract, and thankfully everybody's staying healthy, and there's no other issues that arise, like any type of, discipline, suspension, things like that. There's really not a whole lot to talk about. And so, maybe I'll touch base with one of my front office friends somewhere, but just more on a personal level. Just, how you doing? How's the family? What'd you think about this? And then as far as my clients, different guys require different things. There's some players I represent that are younger guys that don't really have anybody. And in some cases, they need me to talk to them every night before they go to bed.
Get out of here.
And then
that's crazy.
And then
that's wild.
Read them a bedtime story, whatever I can. But,
you will tackle better. Yes.
and then, a lot of the guys I have are guys who are veterans who, have been around, they're married, they have a family. And in many cases, these guys are quite busy and don't need to talk to their agent every few days. And so they know that I'm here for them if there's anything they need. And so sometimes you could go by several days with really nothing. And then for whatever reason, one day comes where it's just one thing after another. And, this guy needs this, this guy has this question. A team wants to talk to you about that. So it's sort of like being a fireman. There could be a week where there's no action. And then there could be a day where, literally just you're just up to your eyeballs in it.
And you're sleeping at the station. which Lubie and I have been forced to do a couple of times also during a
Definitely
different
weird,
type of station. Lubie, what do you have for the
Well,
agents of the stars here?
I was just thinking about something, and again, Brett Tessler with us here, the Defo Show Ion channel. You can also check us out, 5 Reasons Sports Believe Podcast Network. Check out Brett at Tessler Sports on Twitter, and also he's great on Facebook. Brett Tessler. You were posting a lot of different stuff for guys you have in the Senior Bowl, right? Like they're your clients that were in college. Now they're going to the draft. That's cool. And I'm curious because it used to be you'd have to wait till they were done, right? Well, now with NIL, players are supposedly allowed to have agents helping them accrue these contracts. So are you allowed to now go and get college players, high school players before they go to the draft and then just be their agent the entire time? Like, how does that work? And are you involved in that, trying to get involved in that? I'm just curious how the NIL's changed being an agent.
Well, there's always been loopholes and there's always been ways, Lubie, that agents could get to players, whether it be through a financial advisor, whether it be through different methods. Unscrupulous people will always figure out ways to sort of, worm their way in there. Have now sort of made it easier for agents to get in there. Not that there's anything wrong with them doing that, and certainly I'm all in favor of some of these players or any of the players who are able to secure any type of money off the field. College kids, I think it's great for them. But the type of players that I have built my business on, in many cases, sort of mid to late round picks, even in many cases with great success, undrafted guys, as well as a lot of the guys who I represent are offensive linemen, maybe not the most marketable guys, maybe the kind of guys that there wouldn't be as many opportunities for. So, I think if you were recruiting a, national championship type quarterback or whatever as an agent, that would be a very important part of their decision as it relates to what an agent would be able to get them then while they're in college. But again, as it relates to the kind of guys that I've typically recruited and continue to recruit, it's much less of an issue. And frankly, it doesn't really change my recruiting approach whatsoever from what it's been for the last 25 years.
We talk about approach a lot when it comes to front office approach in the National Football League or any sport for that matter. And you had two kind of different philosophies in play here in the Super Bowl, or at least two teams that were in radically different circumstances. The Rams all in with superstars, trading away a zillion draft picks to assemble a team that they thought could win a championship and do it now. And that's a very much in vogue line of thinking in professional sports today that, hey, take your shot when you have it and worry about the consequences later. And then you had the Bengals who were bottomed out and ended up with the number one pick a couple of years ago. Turned out to be Joe Burrow. Looked like that was going to end in tragedy. He comes back, gets the comeback player of the year, takes him right to the brink of winning a championship when they sprinkled in some free agents and took advantage of some draft picks that panned out and quickly rebounded from being like a 2-win team and found themselves in the Super Bowl. Interesting matchup there. What were your thoughts about the game, and what, if anything, did we learn about the NFL and what it takes to win from seeing the Rams triumph?
I think it worked out exactly like we discussed last week. This game was going to begin and end as it relates to how things were going to work out. This game started and finished with how the Bengals offensive line was going to be able to hold up against the Rams defensive line. And as we saw in the first half of the game, they did a very effective job of getting the ball out quick, keeping Aaron Donald in check, keeping Joe Burrow upright and in one piece. And, while they were able to do that, the Bengals were in a great position. And certainly, coming out of halftime, it looked like they had every opportunity to win the game. But what usually happens in these situations is with good coaching and smart players like Aaron Donald, who are veterans, who know how to adjust, know how to evaluate what happened in the first half and figure out ways that they can ultimately be more effective in the second half. You sort of saw the dam break there. And once that happened, and once a guy like Aaron Donald was really able to get himself going, then that got Von Miller going. It got that entire unit going. And obviously Cincinnati's offensive line faltered, and Joe Burrow started taking an absolute beating, as he had done most of the postseason and all season. And so that's unfortunately the reason why Cincinnati Bengals are not world champions, because I thought they had every opportunity to win the game. I didn't think it was an especially well played game by either side, but it was a good game in the way that it was close, and certainly in the end, very compelling. I don't think it's any coincidence that we would end up having officiating controversies toward the end there, because that's kind of the way it's been all season in the league. And I think it's a major issue that the league is going to have to try to figure out a way to rectify.
Oh, wow. Before we let you go, I'm just curious, because the rumor mill is always fun when it comes to this time of the year. Two of the bigger rumors to come out of the Super Bowl was retirement. And it wasn't Aaron Rodgers and it wasn't Tom Brady. Sean McVay, 36, been to 2 Super Bowls and now won 1 in 5 games as a head coach. Aaron Donald, 30, and still the best probably player in all of the NFL, let alone defensive player, are both sort of rumored to be considering, if not wanting to retire. As a guy who's in the game and knows the rumors before we get them, how serious do you, when you hear rumors like that of guys in their prime or not even in their prime in McVay's case, like how serious do you take those rumors?
I think you take it serious. I mean, look, if I'm Sean McVay, you've got your Super Bowl ring. He's sort of been the wonder kid since, he came onto the scene, took his team to a Super Bowl a few years ago, whatever it was now, and now won one before turning 40. And so people don't realize the amount of stress, the amount of time, just everything that goes into being an NFL head coach. And if you're a guy like Sean McVay that could have other opportunities, I mean, listen, the top coaches in the league make around $20 million a year, which it's sort of thought that that's what Belichick makes. And then you got a guy like Tony Romo making 17, 18 million as an announcer. And so, McVay, obviously his salary now is nowhere close to either of those numbers. And so if a network did come to a guy like McVay and say, hey, we'll give you 18, 19, 20 million, whatever. If I'm him, I go to the Rams, I go to Stan Kroenke and say, what do you want to do? Because if I'm him, I'm not going to continue to to coach at a fraction of that number if there's another avenue out there for me where I can make way more money with a fraction of the stress and a fraction of the time commitment.
Brett Tessler, the age. Yeah, go ahead.
Frankly, the Rams are very lucky to have a guy like him as a coach. Any team would be lucky to have a guy like him as a coach. When you see the current state of coaching around the league and all the nonsense that's going on, and what the Dolphins have been going through with coaches for what now, the last 20 years. I mean, to have a guy that young, to have a guy that young, that talented, that's got 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 win under his belt already. If I'm the owner of that team, with no salary cap as it relates to coaches, I give that guy a blank check.
Yeah, like he did to the city of St. Louis to get out of there. Just unbelievable. Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars, with us. One more thing, Brett, if you don't mind. I know you have a lot of things going, and get a chance to unwind a little bit here too, which is great. The Stephen Ross assertions by Brian Flores, originally just summarily dismissed by Roger Goodell as pure nonsense, everything without merit. Then all of a sudden, he has a change of heart. I guess the PR people got to him and said, hey, listen, Raj, we better act like we take this stuff seriously. Launching some kind of investigation into this, I think a very difficult thing to prove unless there was actual, some kind of evidence of monetary payment, and or Stephen Ross arguing with Brian Flores on a recording that somehow could be entered into the investigation where he says, hey, listen, damn it, I'm serious about this. If you lose a game, I'll give you $100,000. Where do you see that going? And people are speculating now that this is serious enough that Ross could be forced by the other owners, and a majority, whatever it is, 75% vote of the owners, to sell his team.
My guess is as good as yours or anybody else. The only people who truly know what was said and the context it was said in are Stephen Ross, Brian Flores, and anybody else who was directly involved in such a conversation, if such a conversation happened. And so, if such an offer was made, obviously that's not very good judgment, and it's something that is concerning. If such an offer was actually recorded or put in writing, now you're talking about things that could be illegal, and you're talking about things that very well could jeopardize any owner's continued status as an owner. And so, this just has to play out. And I'd like to believe that Stephen Ross would have never made such an offer again. Have teams purposely tried? I don't want to say teams try to lose. I'd say teams might not try their hardest to win, meaning evaluating younger players, different things like that. I think it's very clearer than ever the value of having the number one overall pick if the number one overall pick is a Joe Burrow or an Andrew Luck. If it's that kind of draft, there's a very clear value in it. It appeared that there was going to be that kind of value in Tua when the whole tank for Tua thing started a few years back. So, time will tell. We'll see what type of evidence Brian Flores has or doesn't have. And so other than that, again, my speculation on that is no better than anyone else's. There's only probably a couple people who really know the truth about what was said, if anything.
Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars. One thing, you're right about a lot of things, and it was very interesting. You kind of hinted at some of this Brian Flores acrimony and responsibility for the status of the team going on a downward cycle for the first half of the season with lame personnel decisions that he may have approved. But you're dead on when it comes to Michael D. Wild and wills and trusts. I didn't mean to make a bad pun there, but wow. Those transactions with banks, especially in this modern age where there are no people to talk to directly, it can get so complicated. You absolutely need to nail this stuff down with a guy like Michael D. Wild long before that moment of truth and meeting your maker comes.
Yeah, Deke, there's no he said, she said as it relates to Michael Wild. You reach out to him at southfloridawills.com, and you know for sure that your work is going to be done properly. You know that it's going to be done reasonably and affordably, and you know that it's going to be done much quicker and painlessly than you expected this process might be. And, it's something that I got to experience firsthand with him. Several of my clients over the years have been very pleased with his work, as well as friends and family members, friends like yourself and other people. You reach out to Michael Wild at southfloridawills.com. You're not going to be disappointed.
No, it does a great job. As do you, Brett Tessler. Always fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And we'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
Thanks, Tessler, man.
Sounds great, guys. Take care.
All right, Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars. The NFL never ends, right? It just the storylines are ongoing. You talk about a sport that can dominate in the offseason. The NFL has it set up perfectly. Although you used to be absolutely enamored with NBA free agent talk. I'm so glad that has kind of dissipated a little bit, the obsession with NBA free agent talk.
Well, LeBron, because there would be these guys that LeBron, then KD, then Kawhi, that one guy could change a franchise. We've seen that with all three of those guys. None of those guys are at a place where they're bitter. Like Booker probably could be a big free agent, but he's happy. Like none of the guys that are faces of franchises these days care to leave. So it makes the offseason a lot less exciting. Makes you focus on the season.
It's kind of weird, too. Teams that you expected would be dominant this year. Certainly it looked like the Brooklyn Nets were in a position to really have a monster season, and they were, even without having any kind of continuity, including zero participation for a long time from Kyrie Irving, and then he becomes a part-time guy, right? He's only on the road trips, which is even weirder than if he just played the home games. Would you imagine? But, that this would ever happen in an NBA season where a guy only plays road games. Kind of insane, right? Well, what is Bob Cousy thinking about that? Huh? That Bill Russell, there was a thing the other day in This Day in Sports, and it was not uncommon, I guess, of the times. Talking late 50s. He grabbed 41 rebounds in a game.
That's so stupid.
He had 18 points and 41 rebounds.
It's just crazy. Stuff
How crazy is that?
It's just dumb. Like if guys get like 15 to 20 now, you're like, wow, that was a night.
A 20 rebound game. I mean, a 10
Good
rebound
name.
game is not that easy to come up with.
No, it's weird.
Yeah. Especially if you're shooting 30-footers as soon as you get your hands on the ball, like I was. I mean, but you'd have to get in there, and no matter who you were, I mean, you would have to gain the respect of the other people on the team so they would continue to feed you the basketball so you could just continue to hoist bombs from, the Coke machine. You had to occasionally get in there and scrap for a rebound, did you not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just show that you were willing to
You
go into
just
the
sat
basket
there.
and get hit in the teeth at least once.
Cherry picking.
Yeah.
We were not running to give you the ball.
Here.
I hated that guy. My buddy did it, and he didn't do it on purpose. He just was lazy to get back on defense. So he'd just be standing there, and it was like, dude, come on.
After a while, your own team resented you for cherry picking.
Yes.
And even though you were wide open under the other basket for what
Screw
would be
you.
the game-winning shot, they wouldn't throw the ball to you. They'd just work it up the court.
No,
Yeah.
come back, you asshole.
Pavel Buryman was cherry picking in hockey. Yeah, that
All
was
the
great.
time.
Yeah, he'd be at the red line there making out with Anna Kournikova through the glass, and next thing you know, here comes the puck. Well, look at that, Pavel breakaway. That was great. I don't even think he knew where the defensive end of the ice was, even though they switched sides every period. That was the only time he was on the other end of the ice. All right. No, he was great, man. I loved having Pavel Bury here because you like watching these kind of superstar players perform. It's absolutely fantastic. And we had the pleasure of having that going on for a while. Pavel wasn't exactly in his prime, but he wasn't that far off of it that 60 goals wasn't an impossible barometer by which to judge the excellence of his season. All right. A lot of fun being with you today as we transition away from Super Bowl conversation, although there's still going to be a lot of things to be worked out. I don't believe, by the way, that McVay will retire. I don't believe it. I don't know. I have no deeper insight into it than just a blind guess. That Ukrainian model, I mean, you would have to say she's a looker, man. I mean, no?
Of course.
I didn't say hooker. I said a looker, Lubie.
She's a good-looking lady. Yes, of course.
Beautiful.
McVay.
Absolutely gorgeous. And he wants to have babies and raise a family. So who knows if he walks away. And he sees Tony Romo for just being a rambling, insane person. Like you could have picked up a homeless person out of the New York subway system and put him in the booth there with Jim Nantz, and he could probably sit there and go, hey, I got to run the ball. I got to pass the ball. I got to do that. You're like, what? What are you talking about, Tony? You're out of your mind at this point. So he sees him making an easy money from CBS, $18 million. That was a contract that whoever brought that contract on board. Do you think they have this guy like ready to shove him off the top of 30 Rock?
Super regret because all people do now is mock Tony Romo and either mute him or change the channel. Like he's become the total opposite, and it's happened very quickly. Like
yes, it's like he's lost his mind. It really is.
Totally lost it. That was a really bad contract.
Like you're thinking, Tony Romo is making less sense than Jerry Quarry was in his last days before he checked out with a very severe case of dementia. All right, enough denouncing everybody else that's in the business. Let's face it, there's a certain amount of professional jealousy that anybody could make $18 million a year doing this. Can you imagine?
18 million.
And that's for like 18 games, right?
I mean, do they even do 18? Does he do 18 games?
Does he do 18? I don't know.
You would think he takes a week off here or there. So he might. I don't think he does a full 18.
Oh, that's right. And he's got the option to go and play on a celebrity golf tour if he wants to, and still gets his money. Boy, that's a hell of a deal. Hey, you better talk to Jack about maybe making a few amendments to whatever contractual obligations we have. All right, we're going to see you guys tomorrow. We'll go old school with Tony Segreto. That should be a lot of fun. We'll get his thoughts on the Super Bowl. Of course, we'll have a lot of other stuff for you on the agenda. From Mike Lubie, Lubitz, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Tell people to Google the Defo Show, DEFO, and you can find the entire archive of Defo shows here on Ion Channel, where it's a pleasure to operate each and every morning on the East Coast from 7 to 9. You can catch, although you say they've been a little bit neglectful with this 5 Reasons thing. All of a sudden, it's back to the old circumstance.
What happens is it's a lot of different people doing the gig. So
call Scoop Skolnick. Get Scoop on the phone.
So Scoop's always been really good when I reach out to him. I hate being an annoying guy, but I love that platform. I appreciate all of our partnerships, and I want to make sure that all of our listeners can go to any of the 3 places and find our content whenever they want.
Brilliantly said. Mike Lubie Lubitz. Happy Valentine's Day. How did it go for you, by the way? Real quick.
You didn't even ask. We're sort of boring. We've done the same thing for the last 4 years now. I get her favorite food dishes, and we just sit at the house. She's happy, and I don't have to spend $300 for dinner. So it works out really well.
Yeah, this thing was over a deuce. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. I got to make some money.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't take any more of these vacations or holidays. All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. on the East Coast as we leave you know that. It's 9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my